Hi, I'm Lexi, and I'm in the US. And I know what you're thinking, not her again. Well, you're getting all kinds of extra videos this month, aren't you? But today is International Food Loss and Waste Awareness Day. Every year in the US, 30 to 40% of food produced is wasted. And that's a horrifying number. Worldwide, it's not much better, coming in at about 20%. So I think we could all use a few tips and tricks at not wasting food. And the holidays are coming up, and with the holidays, we have leftovers. So how can we make sure that those leftovers get used when we're sick of eating the same old thing day after day? Well, I'm going to show you one way. Here I have about 2.5 cups of leftover mashed potatoes. We're just going to plop those out, and then, let's see, how do I want to do this? I want a messy hand and a clean hand, at least to start. So I'm going to kind of make a divot in these. And then I'm going to crack 3 eggs. Okay, and I'm just going to get in here. You can use it. You can do this with a fork by all means. I just didn't grab a fork, and the raw egg does not bother me. So just break those up just a little bit. And then I'm going to add about 2.5 cups, and this is going to go everywhere now, of flour. Do I do this on a regular basis? No. Hence why I am not doing this in the neatest fashion possible. I am certain that many people out there who have already identified what I'm making, not that it's going to be a surprise from the title of this video, but many people are yelling at me. And probably many Italians are yelling at me that you can't make gnocchi out of leftover mashed potatoes. Is it traditional? No, I will give you that. Does it work? Well enough. It's a way to use up the potatoes and give yourself something different to eat. Some of you might be saying at this point, what is gnocchi? Gnocchi is an Italian potato dumpling, essentially, made with potatoes and flour and eggs. And you can boil it, or I believe I've seen it done pan-fried, so that it's got a little bit of texture to it. And I've put it in casseroles before. Like a ham and cheese casserole with gnocchi instead of noodles or rice. Is this messy? Yes. Am I making this messier than it needs to be? Doubtless. Do I need more flour? Also looking that way. Have I figured out how to do that now that both of my hands are covered in this? Nope. Scrape off as much as I can. And try to only touch the handle. I wonder if this works like bread dough, where if you put flour on your hands and rub it together, it all comes off. Kind of. That was a little helpful. I've actually only made gnocchi once before, so we're kind of learning how to do this together at this point. But you can see it's coming together. It's forming a dough. I know that you don't really need to knead it exactly like bread. That's just what I'm used to doing, so I think that's what I'm defaulting to. But that looks pretty good, I think. So I'm going to set that there. Use some of this extra flour on my silicone pad to get all of this off of my hands. That was a mistake. What am I doing? I don't know. This piece feels stickier than the rest of it, so I'm trying to add some flour into it so that I can then incorporate it into the rest of the dough ball. Stop yelling at me. I hear you. I'm trying. Okay. I'm going to wash my hands, get a different silicone pad so that we can roll this up and cut it into pieces. I'll be right back. That flour is still okay. Scooch this over to the side. Not messy silicone pad. Am I in camera? Bench scraper. And we're just going to start with this piece of dough that was on top that wasn't really incorporated into the dough ball. So we're going to roll this out. If it's sticking, you can add a little bit of flour. Now, traditionally, I know that there's like a special tool to roll gnocchi and get that nice little texture on all of the pieces. And that texture does serve a purpose. It helps to grip the sauce. Am I going to do that? No. Is it necessary? No. It will still be delicious without it. So I'm going to look for, I want it a little thinner than this, but my mat is only so long. And it's bouncing back on itself. I think that's a good thing. Okay, we're going to go with this. I'm going to cut it in half to start with because we're going to try and be efficient. And then just use the bench scraper. You don't want to use a knife on a silicone mat because you can damage the mat. But we're just going to do that. I don't know what that little black thing is, but we're going to pick it out. And then put them on a cookie sheet with another silicone mat or a piece of parchment paper. And I'm going to put these, once I'm done, in the freezer. Once they're frozen solid, go ahead and transfer them into a zip-top bag for long-term storage. Want to try to keep them from touching so they don't freeze together. And then to cook these, let me set this over here. You never have enough space in the kitchen, do you? To cook these, you just boil them in water until they're nice and tender and cooked through. Or you can throw them in a casserole. Or, you know, let me look up the directions to see if they can be pan fried, because I swear I've seen it done before. Not sure what that is. But let me look that up and I will put it in here as a voiceover. You can indeed pan fry gnocchi. Some directions I saw said to go ahead and pan fry them directly from the package, but those packages are also not frozen. And some directions said to parboil them first. I have not done this, so as of yet I cannot make recommendations. And also, as I put before in text, they are good in soup. I hope that I've inspired you to do something a little bit different with your leftovers this year. And maybe make sure that a little bit more of them goes in your stomachs and not in the garbage. Because aside from being good for the planet, good for the world, it's also good for our wallets. And I know we could all use a bit of that. So if you enjoyed the video, if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it. Now I'm going to spend the next who knows how long rolling and cutting all of this gnocchi dough. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye!